Hello everyone, I'm Audriza and welcome back to my channel. Today we are sinking our fangs into the dark, gritty world of J. Kristoff's Empire of the Vampire and its sequel, Empire of the Damned. It's the first two books in one of my favorite epic fantasies of all time. If you love epic fantasies which are dark with a sharp edge, which have very complex morally gray characters, there's plenty of bloodshed, you should definitely pick this one out. Let's start with the first book, which is The Empire of the Vampire in the first series. Look at the book. Look at how beautiful this book is. There's a hardcover, which is a different cover with the characters on display, but I like this a lot more. And before I delve into the descriptions of the book, I would like to also show you how beautiful, intricate, and complicated and complex and detailed this map is. Just look at it, how beautifully illustrated this is, along with the amazing amount of illustrations this book has. It makes sure that you are hooked. Before I delve into all of the characters and everything else that comes with it, I wanted to show you all of this. I'll just post a picture over here until I'm talking about it so that you can have a look. Now, starting with Empire of the Vampire, the first book in the series, this is set in a world where for 3 decades the sun has barely risen. Whenever the sun does rise, the sunlight is so faint it is not worth talking about. There are different kinds of creatures who have risen up against humanity, and the biggest war that is being waged against humanity is being done by different sects of vampires who want to ravage the entire world. In this world, to fight against the vampires is the Order of the Silver Saints. The Order of the Silver Saints comprises of people whose mother was a human but whose father was a vampire. These, well, creatures who look like humans and are kind of humans and a vampire hybrid, they have the same amount of bloodlust that a vampire does, but they can also curb it, and they have enhanced abilities which make sure they can fight against these horrific monsters and save humanity one vampire at a time. In this story, we follow our main character, Gabriel de Leon, who is a vampire hunter. He's also a member of the Silver Order, and he's extremely famous for his prowess and how well of a job he does at killing literally all vampires, and he has started all of this at a very young age. Gabriel's story is one of survival, of betrayal and vengeance, and it is told in a very non-linear narrative that jumps between past and present. The way J. Kristoff has built the world, it's phenomenal. It is steeped in gothic horror with a bleakness that permeates every page. You don't know whether these characters will even survive the next page. You are on the edge the entire time. These vampires are not the romanticized versions, they are not sparkly, they are terrifying, they are bloodthirsty creatures, they rule the night, and they do not care because there is no amount of humanity which is left in them. Everything is stripped off. They will kill you just because they can. Gabriel is a very complex protagonist. He's very flawed. He's haunted by the mistakes of his past. He's driven by a sense of duty and revenge. He wants to avenge his family. It's beautifully written, but amongst this bloodthirst and bloodshed and despair, there's a strange beauty in the prose. It makes you want to keep turning the pages, thinking that maybe there's hope out there. Now, without giving too much about the first book, we have to delve into the second book, which is the Empire of the Damned, which takes all the stakes which were there in the first book and just dials it even higher. The sequel, which is this one, just have a look at how pretty this book is. It deals a lot more about the politics, about the different factions of the vampires which are there, about Gabriel's journey as to where we left off in the first book. In the first book, towards the end, there are a lot of characters which are introduced. There may or may not be a chosen one at the end who is also dragged on to the second book. There are shapeshifters, which are also introduced in the book. There's a lot more expansion on the lore and the world building. One thing which I absolutely adore about the series is how it balances epic battles with very, very intimate character driven moments. Like Gabriel's relationships continue to evolve, and his character as a whole, there is so much development, especially for a man who is in his 30s. The amount of development that his character goes through is remarkable, which brings even other characters' strengths and weaknesses to the forefront of the story. And the way J. Kristoff writes, I have always been a big fan of him. I fell in love with his books the first time I read Aurora Rising, and his writing style is visceral. It's unapologetic. It doesn't care. It just gives you. It calls a spade a spade. On the other hand, it also is very poetic. It captures the grim beauty of the world he's created. And if you're a fan of dark fantasy that doesn't pull its punches, you'll appreciate the way this book handles themes of death and gore and love and romance and love of a parent. There are multiple trigger warnings that you should be aware of, because obviously this is a dark fantasy. So starting from parental abuse to child death, there is nothing that the book doesn't touch on, so you should be aware of that. I will link a trigger warning list if I get one in the description box for you to check out. If you're a fan of really dark fantasies, I think you should definitely check this out. If you're a person who has given up on books and doesn't want to read another fantasy book because they all sound the same, if you're a person who hasn't read in a while, or if you're a person who is trying to get into reading, I know these books seem really, really big, and they are. They take a while to get into, but I promise you, they are wonderful books that I think you should check them out. In conclusion, these are very immersive reads with a very beautifully done framework, and J. Kristoff delivers a story like no other. It is brutal, captivating, poetic, and I am looking forward to the third book so much. I think if it is going to be released sometime next year, in the beginning of the next year, and I'm really looking forward to coming to the conclusion. Even if this book series continues for about 4 5 other books, I will definitely read it, and I will request and recommend you to check them out. Thank you so much for watching this book review. I hope you definitely check these books out. These are one of my favorite book series, and next time I will meet you again with a new book that I read recently. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. Bye.